The Powerpuff Girls are known for dishing out damage while looking adorable. That's a tough job. The only person who does this just as well is Mike Tyson. I mean, some of these beatings are brutal. But this whole premise is flipped on its head when a villain with no prior evil work history manages to kidnap the trio, subdue their powers, and hold them prisoner to fulfill some sick fantasy of completing his collection. Yuck. This episode deals with the dangers of parasocial relationships and literal objectification. It is also kind of inspired by a Stephen King novel. But before we break that episode down, let's see where this cartoon came from. Hello and welcome, my name is Witty G, and I talk about odd, obscure, and nostalgic cartoons on the internet, attempting to find out what made them special to begin with. And if you're returning back, good to see you again. I'm sorry, but today's gonna be a doozy just like usual. Powerpuff Girls debuted on Cartoon Network on November 18th, 1998, towards the beginning of what some call the golden era of the network. If that's the golden era, the funny booty-shaking monkey cartoon has to be in the platinum or diamond class.
Got your nuts!
But before the show was an animated series, sometime in June 1991, there were some random characters Craig McCracken drew up for his brother's birthday card, suggested to do so by his mother, who was ahead of the curve with stuff like this. Because if cards were as expensive as they are today, you'll save tons of money by just DIYing them. Inflation is out of control. And hey, you might even make a timeless animated trio that makes enough money to pay for billions of cards. And that was just what McCracken did. Also, what a last name. It's simultaneously terrifying and hilarious. Around the same time this card is being made, there's a film project McCracken is cooking up as part of his sophomore year at Cal Arts. And it was missing something, but not for long. Meant to be a parody that played off his love for superhero content, like the 1960s Batman TV show with Adam West, the girls ended up being the main characters McCracken was looking for. The purpose was to juxtapose the adorable appearance of the trio with the brutality of their fights, hence the original name the Whoop-Ass Girls. And we all loved that part of the show. I know I did. In this show, grandmas get smacked, political figures get smacked, and intergalactic demons get it. They even smacking up roaches.
No matter how yucky they are on the inside.
Another quote of McCracken's that I love is this one.
You've got this colorful, cartoony, rainbowy show with cute characters, and then this really hardcore violence.
I really hope that was the opening sentence said when pitching this show. While working at Cartoon Network after graduating, McCracken made some shorts for the characters where they aired on the animated anthology series What a Cartoon, created by Fred Seibert. This series showcased shorts from Hanna-Barbera Productions. By the end of its run, some of these shorts featured a Cartoon Network Studios production tag, signifying their originality for the network. Shorts like Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, and of course, Powerpuff Girls. And I watched the two that were created for the anthology series. One focused on the character Fuzzy Lumpkins.
Hey, you! Get off of my property! Now!
And in this episode, we get an early depiction of the mayor, which anyone familiar with the show is having red flashing lights appear in their psyche, saying, "That's an imposter, that's a faker."
I found you, faker!
But yeah, this guy was the original one. He gets turned into a slab of meat during the episode, and it's just never reversed. Nor does he return to the job, so we can probably assume he's somewhere on a beach enjoying the benefits of embezzled taxpayer funds. The second short that was aired was about the Amoeba Boys. They're like the worst criminals, and nothing they do is ever dangerous enough to be taken seriously by the Powerpuff Girls. It's not even serious enough to be handled by the parking authority.
But we got a problem, though. No matter what unthinkable crime we commit, it's never good enough for those stinking power pups.
But the girls are so generous, they decide to teach these wannabe criminals how to do it well. In Bank Heist 101, hilarity ensues.
Like that. This is a stick-up, everybody! Down! I said down! Now fork over the door! Good, good.
didn't love the first short for Powerpuff Girls. Maybe because I outgrew Meat being funny. That's a personal flaw, it's not the show's fault.
Can you tell us who did this? Was it the Baloney Brothers?
Oh!
No. Alfie Patty?
Ah!
No. The Salami Swami?
Whoa!
No.
That second episode is actually hilarious, and I loved it. Jindy Tartakovsky, the creator of Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab, other iconic series, and someone who is an outspoken voice in favor of animator rights, if you're curious about the many threats aimed at the industry that create such uniquely awesome content that we all enjoy, check out this video. Anyway, Tartakovsky was actually a friend of McCracken's from Cow Arts, and played a big part in bringing Powerpuff Girls to life. Big as in helping with cinematography, producing the show, and directing actors in animation. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, but your friends that can draw the closest. Remember how I said I loved that second short that was produced? Well, those shorts were shown to a group of 11-year-old boys, and they hated it. They said, "This is the worst cartoon that was ever made, and whoever made it should be fired."
Hey, that's a bullshit.
And McCracken was all like,
Oh well. There goes my whole career. I'm not gonna get to make cartoons for a living.
one source says McCracken was so shook up by the response that he redesigned the whole show in a night. Yeah, children are brutal. This show was evidence of that.
The girls just went crazy and jumped me when I came home.
And we will be returning to the unfiltered and unsophisticated opinions of the youth a little later. Despite the reception of a portion of the intended demographic, Linda Szymanski, former senior vice president of original animation at Cartoon Network Studios, saw some potential here. She persuaded Mike Lazo, then the executive in charge of programming, to let McCracken take another crack at the show, which will keep the crew working with Jindy Tartakovsky on Dexter's Laboratory together at the studio. Szymanski says,
If I had been maybe older, a little more mature, a little less daring, I might have not have done that. But I was taking my direction from a different place than logic. I was just going into it thinking, Craig's really funny, this is bound to work. And then it did.
I love this quote because it's like she's saying, if I was smarter back then, I wouldn't have done this because it made no logical sense. Which is crazy that we got a classic Cartoon Network show that could have easily been kicked to the back of the vault, never to be seen or heard from again due to the intuition of a woman. That is very powerful stuff. But seriously, that's a crazy amount of belief and a huge leap of faith. Based on McCracken's humor, likability, talent, and dedication. All traits good artists have in spades, so keep working on the projects you care about. This shows us that daring decisions sometimes go hand in hand with great art, so don't always be so afraid to make a daring decision to pursue your creative dream. Obviously within reason and within the bounds of reality. Don't be a dumbass.
Just imagine what it'd be like to be one of those Powerpuff Girls. Wear those cute ponytails and glittery hairbands.
And this origin story also teaches us not to give up on honing our craft, even when it seems like our dreams can't be accomplished in the near future. Since after the bombing of the Powerpuff Girls shorts, McCracken was focused on working on Dexter's Lab. That's where he formed more long-lasting bonds with the crew working on the cartoon, bonds that helped build the foundation of the Whoop-Ass Girls. So with another shot at the show, McCracken knew he had to tighten it up to sway public opinion. I'm talking a lore bible, a closer focus on the main characters, and really honing in on what makes this show so special. For those who know absolutely nothing about this show, you sure made it through a lot of the video without a lot of context. And I appreciate that. Here's a small rundown of the cartoon. Powerpuff Girls is like a bunch of animated series, where they tell you what the premise is through the theme song. Short story shorter, Professor combined sugar, spice, and everything nice, then bro goofed and spilled Chemical X inside.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
That's bad. This turned what was once a pretty good pie recipe into 3 little girls with super strength, eye beams, laser powers, the ability to breathe in space, and anything else you can think of. Now their job is to protect the city of Townsville from the creeps that come from all over to destroy the girls, the city, or both. But the girls are never truly alone because there is a voice that always has their back, and that is the smooth vocal tones of the narrator.
Jojo, how dare you turn man into man's best friend, you evil!
let's go over some of the creative elements that made this show so long-lasting. We of course got the juxtaposition of the cutesy, colorful world and juvenile trinkets paired with monstrous villains, occasional dark themes, and buckets of brutal violence. While the girls seem pretty much invincible, they do have a kryptonite. And no, it's not acid. This crooked cop already tried that.
Sorry about that, girls. Are you all right?
What do you know? I guess acid can't hurt us.
A good hero has to have weaknesses that a villain can take advantage of. For Superman, it's a green chaos emerald. For Wolverine, it's homies who can control metal. Spider-Man's kryptonite is his family and friends outside of his superhero identity. He struggles with balancing his normal life as Peter Parker and his extraordinary life as a hero, all while trying to protect his identity and the defenseless. While the girls don't have the same struggle with needing anonymity, no, they're happy to flaunt their W's all over. And the town is appreciative of all the work they do to protect it. Heck, there's even a super adorable / horrifyingly creepy hotline at their school and home, so that the mayor can get in contact with the girls at a moment's notice.
Remember, the hotline is not a toy.
This dynamic between the town and its heroes is a core part of why this episode we're talking about has such dark themes. The weakness of the Powerpuff Girls is that they're little girls.
Freeze! Powerpuff Girls, you're under arrest.
So that means they have bedtimes, they don't like vegetables, they're pretty easily manipulated sometimes, and the most important one of all, they have to listen to their dad.
Girls, she's only looking out for your best interest.
But.
No buts. You're grounded.
McCracken breaks it down even simpler by saying,
They're saving the day before bedtime.
this makes them relatable to the audience. Although they can't relate to fighting aliens and monkey men, they can relate to being afraid of roaches.
But even after centuries of being underfoot, the adaptable cockroach will probably outlive us all, for they are the only creature capable of surviving the effects of radiation. So after the world as we know it is no more, the kooky cockroach will be there to start a new race. A race of bug people with 1 million eyes, 16 legs, exoskeletons, feelers, and...
The difficulty of dealing with a new parental figure in the home, and chores that are always being asked of them even when they don't feel like it. Also, that last thing never goes away. Chores are kind of a horrible constant that parents don't do a good enough job of making clear it's a forever type of deal. From an art perspective, there's a lot to love here. Let's run through some of the inspiration for the overall look of the show's main characters.
Break it down for me.
We got Margaret Keane paintings, particularly for the big old eyes. A friend of McCracken, Paul Ruddish was an inspiration as well.
He always had this ability to draw really cute things without them being too sappy. So I went through this phase where I was trying to emulate what he did.
Another friend from Cow Arts, Jennifer Freed, even inspired Buttercup's haircut. And of course, Hello Kitty.
I remember when I brought a puppy home to my parents. And do you know what they said?
They said yes?
They said,
No!
Some of the elements that make these designs so intriguing visually are their symmetry, simplicity, and adorableness. A trifecta of good. The trio is viewed as a unit and always has been, with each color fitting really distinctly with their personalities. Blossom, the smart, level-headed, and kind of self-centered one.
Brushing up on my conversational Chinese when all of a sudden my hotline phone rang. I knew there was trouble and I had to act fast. I rushed to the phone. Why is everything always about you? We were there too.
Bubbles, the dedicated, sensitive, passionate one. Buttercup, the fierce, determined, and stubborn one.
Well, I thought you went a little too far, like when... Man, Buttercup, you are hardcore. There was this part where you're stuck inside this slug, and it was all gross and stuff, and then splat, pow, pow, you're hitting it, and then you were slamming it on the ground and punching it and kicking it.
I saw them closely related to the elements as well. Avatar brain go burr, you know. Blossom has a fiery motivation to do good and spread that all over the world through superheroism. Bubbles is sensitive like water, just one tap and it sends ripples throughout an entire lake. She's also incredibly calm and happy at moments like a still river, but can cause an immense amount of damage like a tsunami if pushed to those levels of extremism. Buttercup is reliable like the ground below us. She's sturdy and she can be immovably stubborn like a boulder. That's just my take though. McCracken had this to say about what the Powerpuff Girls were, and it's really interesting.
The girls represent body, mind, and spirit. Together, they make a whole person. They always play off each other. If you remove one, the balance is off. When writing them, I'm thinking about what Blossom would say, and I immediately go, Bubbles would react this way, and Buttercup would do this. They function as a single character to me.
I think this is so awesome. I never even thought about them like that. Going off my own intuition with this. Surely not as strong as Linda Saminsky's, but I'll give it a go. I think Blossom is mine because she's kind of a smartass.
Brushing up on my conversational Chinese.
Buttercup is body because look at this beatdown. And Bubbles is soul, obviously.
We were all at school. I was drawing a pretty picture of a red daisy, but then Blossom came along and said that the red daisy was genetically impossible.
We also can tell how distinct the personalities are by judging how each girl reacts to the Amoeba Boys.
Hey, Blossom! Come watch us do a crime! Yes!
Not now, guys!
Come watch us do a crime!
Sorry, guys. I gotta go save people and stuff.
Hey, Buttercup!
Buzz off, guys!
You need to shut the fuck up.
McCracken saw the earlier sketches and designs as a little more freakish, stretched out, and not as cute, especially in comparison to the ones that most of us are familiar with. There are even slides of some of his character sheets that detail parts of their designs for other artists. Let's check that out. These little tidbits are things I'd never think of as a viewer, but they're so interesting from a production standpoint. Like how to design the feet of the girls, telling the artist to
Think of the girls' feet as socks filled with wet sand to keep a sense of weight to the bottoms of their bodies. When they're standing, make sure their legs are together and not apart. Use the highlights in the eyes to show where they're looking.
This also probably keeps the girls from looking more horrifying with their large, bulbous eyes. The example shots show how it should look versus how it shouldn't. There are details on how to envision the way the face moves on the head, with one part saying,
Think of the head as a solid ball. Features are painted on and they should wrap around the contour of the head.
And it reminds me that even simplistic designs, that are even considered simple by the creator, have a lot of tech and detail that goes into making them work for animated storytelling. So here's what we got for what made this show such a unique viewing experience. Little girls beating up monsters. A unique dynamic between the hero and the town they serve. The unique weaknesses of those heroes, i.e. regular day hindrances of most people under the age of 10. Simple and adorable graphics that contrast perfectly against the subject matter. But there's one more core element needed to make a superhero series interesting beyond the surface level. And that's the villains that populate this world. And oh my, does the city of Townsville have a lot of freaks. These guys almost rival Grossology villains and how strange they can be.
Hey, you kids! Get out of my moat! It is not made to be played in!
Like Mojo Jojo, him, your average American, and Lenny Baxter. Oh, we will get to Lenny, but that's where we'll end it today. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And if you want to see part 2 come out real soon, make sure to leave a like and tell me in the comments. I've been Witty G, and be happy, be healthy, and be kind to someone. See ya!
Well, I may be able to talk, but I sure as heck can't drive. Oh, hi, Bubbles.